Okay.
So that's live and all.
I just
Here, you know what I'm gonna do?
perfect.
Put it over here.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we're doing great cake.
Yeah. So she
Police officer.
Oh man, I'd give $1,000,000 for that right now.
I'm so tempted to go to one of these fancy camps. You know, that, I mean,
Yes.
my uncle wants to do, my godfather, he's like a big Mets fan. I go, I'm going to a Mets fan camp. So,
That would be fun. How's it going? Good, Junior. How are you? Good, thank you.
I did, I gave it over to you.
I'm gonna pass on the about that. Finish it here. I'm gonna give it back to you. Yeah. One of the-
That's what I do sometimes. I'm like, I have to pass because I can't do it.
Yeah.
She's the person that we had. Joe had the chamber meetings at the session. We're working on
Thank you so much. Sorry, we kind of made it awkward. Yeah.
Hey, you got food in your city, right? I mean, it's tough. Thank you. It's tough. Hey, man.
Not a whole lot.
How you doing? They're out at Blair's. Starting Walker's in second grade. Starting second grade.
Well,
He said he used to live in Marble Falls, and then a friend of his in San Francisco, and he went and visited, and never came back.
okay.
Said he loved it.
They watched council meetings.
Especially from Ross, they said you couldn't get to the garage.
You ever heard of that game? Lombard Street. It's got like, it's all the way down, very famous. But the houses there, $15 to $20 million each. Unbelievable. They're not even that great houses.
Well, it's crazy. But both of them are school. She's enjoying it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take care of a little bit of business first. I call this meeting of the Hurst-Euless-Bedford Independent School District to order. Let the record show that as of this very moment, there is not a quorum, but we expect there to be a quorum of board members present, and the meeting has been duly called, and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Opens Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Welcome, everyone, this evening. I want everyone to take another 10 minutes to continue to talk and eat your dinner, and then we'll officially start the agenda.
one to Josh. Anyway, it's neat. He's got an interest, something to do. I tried to.
She's going to get started soon.
You want me to give this to Lisa? She's first.
Yeah.
It's safer to have the keys hidden in the little lock.
You try to always, you know how to
Yeah.
turn them on, right?
When it's time, this is always on.
Hi.
You know, whether this is on, this is for the stream, this is for,
So this is on right now.
it's always on.
Okay, got it.
But you're up.
Okay, can you hear me? Excellent. All right, welcome again. I'm Julie Cole. I am the board secretary for HBISD. Our board president and board vice president are both out of town, so you got the C team tonight, but hopefully we'll do okay. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here. We have lots of representation in the room. I don't want to take the time to go around the room and introduce ourselves because most everybody knows everybody. But we do have Bedford here. We have all of the HEB people here. We have Hurst-Euless, and we have Texas Health Harris HEB over here. TCC could not be here tonight. So thank you all for being here. As you know, or if you are new to this meeting, you might not know, we do this meeting every year, and it is hosted by the HEB ISD Board of Trustees, and all of our city leadership and the hospital and TCC are invited to participate, and it's just an opportunity for us to really just have open conversation with one another about how we can each support each other. And as many of you know, there have been lots of really good, successful programs that have grown out of this meeting, and so hopefully somebody will have a great idea tonight that we can work on together to grow for our community. Okay. Joe, do you have anything you would like to say?
The only thing I do want to add is under past successes. We've had great successes in this program. We're just going to highlight a couple of the more recent ones and not go through a full review of all of them. But I mean, as you remember, like the think tank, Read HEB, the Fire Academy, those programs all came out of this meeting, and those have been just huge programs for not only this district but this community, and so that's why we always look forward to this meeting.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is review some of the most current past successes, and we're going to start with the hospital partnership. And Lisa is going to speak, and I don't know if you're going to ask anyone from the hospital to speak, but Lisa's going to walk us through it. Lisa Carr is the, what is your new title, Lisa?
Director of Career and Technical Education.
Director of Career and Technical Education.
Well, hello, everybody. Nice to see everyone again and some new faces. Well, I'm going to start off with just with a little bit of data. As you know, we have had a wonderful partnership with Texas Health for many, many, many years, and we continue to do so, and our programs thrive because of our partnership with you. So thank you so much for all you do. Because of the partnership we have with them, we had 16 students who earned their EKG and their patient care technician industry certifications last year. We have 5 pharmacy technician certifications, 10 phlebotomy certifications, and 2 EMT certifications. And with their in-kind donation to us, we've been able to purchase some items that will help us further our certifications and our training and our program. And Deborah Harvey, Principal of the Buinger, sat down this summer with Sitha, the new Brenda, and Laura and I were just talking in the hallway that we need to reconnect again about future partnerships and where we can go from here. And so I mentioned it last time to everybody about looking at exploring the radiology technician program. And so that's going to be one of our goals this year, is to see how we can maybe bring that to fruition in the next couple years. So we're very excited about that. Do y'all want to add anything? Feel free to.
Thank you. My name is Jared Shelton. I'm the president at Texas Health HEB. And we really enjoy the partnership with HEB ISD. It's a long-standing partnership and one that we plan to continue on for a long, long time. But we really enjoy not only spending time with the students. I think their energy brings something special to the table to our care teams. But it's really incredible to think about where these students are going to be in the next 10, 20, 30 years as they find what their passion is and go live it out. Mentioned the patient care technician program. We had 16 of those that went through that program. A very high percentage of our nurses actually go through that type of program. So that's really the launching point for a career. Some like the PCT work, but a lot use that as a bridge to become a registered nurse or a physician and or another career in healthcare. And one of the things that really makes Texas Health HEB special, I think, and Texas Health in general special, is how many of our leaders in the hospital started out in those frontline kind of entry-level positions. Both of our nursing executives at our hospital, Julie Ballack and Missy Angeli, our Chief Nursing Officer and Associate Chief Nursing Officer, respectively, both started out as staff nurses at Texas Health Hospitals, and they've worked their way through the organization into leadership roles. And you have to start somewhere, and so we are excited to be able to offer those starts for students now and into the future. So we look forward to more years of partnership. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let me just add, too, that the hospital's always looking for more ways to partner with us, and we do appreciate that. When ideas come up, they're more than willing to entertain and talk, and they're looking for ways also to connect. And so we do appreciate that.
Okay, next we'd like to talk about, Joe, this is going to go right back to you. Extra mile for crossing guards and SROs.
So one of the suggestions that had come up was how could we honor our SROs and crossing guards? They take care of our kids, but they're not our employees. And so what we did, we have our Extra Mile Awards. And, you know, we have different awards that go out through the season, but the Extra Mile Award is where we honor, you know, our custodians. We honor our cafeteria workers. We're looking for a lot of those groups that sometimes get left out. And we had two groups here that we really felt had been left out. And so for the first time this past year at our Extra Mile Awards, we did honor. We had a Crossing Guard of the Year and the SRO of the Year. And we're hoping to even publicize that more and get even more nominations for next year. But, you know, this was an idea that came up, and it happened.
Yeah, this actually came up at one of these meetings several years ago, and we did do a deep dive with the police chiefs of all the cities and talk about it. And we had planned pre-pandemic to do something then, and then, of course, all plans were off for a while, but so it morphed into this, and I think that's a great way to do it. Okay, we have summer opportunity. Conrad Streeter.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone here. Last year, we spent a few minutes talking about our summer school, which now we're calling summer enrichment for elementary students. And one of the conversations that took place was, is there a way that we could share that information not only with the 3 cities, but also could we help publish your information that you do? So I think this is an area that we've got off to a good start. I think we could improve it a little bit more. But what I will say is that our people from HEB reached out to all the Parks and Rec, along with the city libraries. And when they shared information with us, we published that on our website and also pushed it out to the families. And then I know that we also shared our information with the Parks and Rec as well. And I can't say for sure how much was pushed out to the city, but what I do think is that we need to continue that collaboration and continue to find ways to really share, because that gives families an opportunity to participate in something all summer long. And that's really what we want for our kids, is to be dialed in. And especially in a summer like this, they need to be able to do something and besides stay inside all day. And so if they can have opportunities within the city or our summer enrichment. So if there's anything that we can do to help support you all later, let us know. And on the return, we hope that you'll share our information as we get closer to June next year.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions about that? Linda?
Last week, I forgot what I meant, it was with summer camps and everything.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Okay, so the next part of our agenda is really talking about opportunities that are upcoming for continued collaboration. And I'm going to let Dr. Harrington talk about a couple of items.
Okay, so first one we have listed it, and just so you understand, we went through and listed a few topics. There's going to be a time where we'll open it up to you if you've got some topics to throw out. Again, we don't have to solve this today. This is there synergy behind this idea? And if there is, then we'll continue talking about it. So one of the things that has come up is employee daycare. And what I kind of wanted to throw out, is there interest in any of the other organizations in partnering to do some sort of daycare with it? Grapevine Colleyville ISD has their own employee daycare. It is a very popular program, and it allows their employees to, daycare at a reduced cost. We do think that is probably a very strong retention piece. In our current environment of, there are fewer teachers in the area than there are, we have more positions than teachers. So, we're very close to being fully hired. The reality is, if we're really close to being fully hired, somebody's really not very close to being fully hired because there are not enough employees out there. So we really have to look at ways to do that. So that was one of the things I wanted to throw out. Is there any thoughts on employee daycare, partnering with employee daycare? We're continuing to look at it. It's nothing that I'm going to turn around overnight. This is something that's going to take a lot of planning and time and building. But that's what the first thing I wanted to throw out.
Could you, okay. Well, I do think this is very important. Could you explain a little bit about how the school goes about doing that, setting up the program?
Grapevine Colleyville's program, it's basically, they have a daycare, but they're running basically at cost. Most of these daycares are for-profit, and therefore the cost to the participant is much higher than what the cost can be in a program that we're not looking for profit. We're looking to provide a service.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
At this point, I don't think we've even talked about what it could look like. This is really just pie in the sky. If we could make it happen, what could it look like?
So looking for ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And if any of the cities have a need or an interest, is there somebody that is interested in maybe partnering that?
I think we all have a need, right? I'm curious where does Grapevine Colleyville, what facility do they use?
And Conrad, do you know the history on the facility?
Yes, I can give you a little bit of background information, and then Lindsay, did your kids go there? Yeah, so we have someone who's actually used it, but very short, the extended, or the early childhood center is right next to Colleyville Heritage High School, if you're familiar with where that is. And I will tell you, former principal, as was Joe, it was a great recruiting tool. When I went to a job fair and recruiting young teachers who were having families, and I could say you can put your child next door at a reduced rate, it was very affordable. Almost always I got an immediate signing and they stayed. So I believe it's age 0 to 4, right? So they have the different age groups and it's fully staffed, and it is almost 100%, if not, self-funded. At least it was a few years ago. So really the district is able to take all that money that they get, put it back into it, and pay for that cost. Obviously there's a building involved though. Clay, was that enough? Okay.
So do you know how they transport?
So the parents are required to drop their child off and pick them up. Yes, ma'am. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so if you're teaching,
The-
you just have to leave.
But yes, but the hours were designed for teachers so that they can pick them up and drop them off. Yes, ma'am. It coordinated with the school times.
And again, that's something to think about, and then if it's something that you think is bubbling up that you'd like to talk more about, let us know. It's something, like I said, we want to look at from a long-term possibility. Is this something we could do someday? Okay.
What would be the difference between that and subsidizing daycare for the employees? What's the advantage? And just, so you wouldn't have to have an operation, you wouldn't have to have the overhead, you wouldn't have to have the building.
You guys talk about setting up, it's a no cash flow, I mean, it pays for itself. Whereas if you subsidize, you've got to find that money to subsidize.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be like our CK, our pre-K, our tuition-based pre-K program, so, yeah.
I would think there would also be, you know, I don't have little ones anymore, but I think my thought process as a parent of infant, toddler would be, I would feel like they were, you know, sort of getting the HEB teaching and learning from an early age, that I would hope that would, you know, excel their learning as they got older. And I would think that would be sort of the way we would design it, so that those 4-year-olds that leave that program would be ready for pre-K, which would, you know, give them a leg up.
I just wondered how many of your employees actually live in HEB? You know, if I lived in Watauga, I don't know that, and I worked in Dallas, I don't know if that would be an advantage to me. But if you gave me a subsidy or gave me some money to pay for my daycare, it might make more sense to me.
Yeah, Amy, that's an interesting idea. I will say that we have a lot of parents who bring their school-age children here from other cities for the very reason of, you know, they want their children to get the HEB education, even though they don't live here. And knowing that we have large numbers of those families coming in that way, I would think that, my brain says it would make sense for them to bring their little ones as well. And, you know, when I had little ones, I specifically moved to Bedford because it was closer to where I worked. And so if I needed to get my kiddos from daycare or school, you know, I could do that. I would think the same would be for some teachers, right? They're at school, so if their kiddos, their little ones are closer to school and something happens, a kiddo gets sick and has to go to the doctor, that's an easier thing than going all the way back out to Watauga. Again, everybody's going to do what makes the most sense for their family, but, you know, the idea of an offering is intriguing to us.
Julie, my daughter lives in Watauga, and she works in our school district. She has a 4-year-old. She'd love that.
She'd love it, yeah.
And the other piece, TCC has mentioned before, they have that program to train daycare employees, et cetera. And so we thought if we ever did get into this, we would want to partner with them also, and we might be training future teacher assistants, et cetera. So this kind of goes along, this next one, with what we talked about. You know, Julie mentioned that in HEB, many of our employees do choose, who live outside the district, do bring their kids. We allow them to transfer in. As we're looking at growth in the area and we're looking at our numbers, post-COVID, we're still down about 1,000 kids. That's number slowly going up, and it's pretty much across the state. The numbers have not fully recovered. With that said, is some capacity within the district. We also look at the relationship we have with our 3 cities. This is a unique relationship with Hurst-Euless and Bedford. And the thing we want to see, would there be an interest if we opened up, like we take transfers for our employees, if we took transfers for the employees of the 3 cities? We thought that may be something, you know, we're not always asking what can you do for us. This may be something we can do for you, because this could be a recruitment tool of, if you work for us, you can bring. We don't think this is tons of kids. This isn't going to be 1,000 kids. This may be 25 or 30 kids. But is that 25 or 30 employees who feel better because they're taking their kids with them and that's where they want their kids? And right now, we think we have the capacity. Is that something that would interest the cities?
Sounds like another benefit.
I think with both of these, I could go back and do, kind of a little bit of a survey when I have employee meetings to get feedback on both of these items to give you some idea of whether or not there's interest.
Yeah, that's good.
And right now, so many people are still looking to move into the HEB area, but it's not affordable for them.
Right.
But they want to move here because of this school district, so I think there would definitely be interest.
Well, yeah.
Give them another opportunity to come work for the city of Euless and have the kids be inside the same school district. Goes back to what Julie and Joe said, that they could then be within very close to where they work with the kids. And the kids of any age, I think that would be a huge.
Well, and it's like the daycare. It becomes a hook. If I'm really happy with my kids' school and I get to take them to the school because I work here, I can't go somewhere else. And so, yeah.
To protect you guys, what are the qualifiers?
You know, here's what we'll have to sit down and talk, but I think when we look at an employee's child, they're our kid. So that's the qualifier. I mean, we can't say, hey, I'll take these two, but no. I mean, no, but seriously, if we're all in one family now, then they're our kid.
Well, actually, it sounds like a win-win. I know in the city of Hurst, we're thinking, what benefits can we give people to come to work for us? And I think the other cities are experiencing that too, so that sounds like a great one. I keep yelling benefit to Clay.
Okay, so Lisa again has some information to share about practicum programs.
Okay, well, let me first define what a practicum is, if you don't know. Some of you may remember the VOTEC, go-to-work programs, that you could do. Well, practicum is similar along those lines, but it's more flexible. So our practicums can be all year long. They can be paid or unpaid. They can be a project where they go work with the business or an industry for a few weeks on a project and then come back in the classroom and then maybe go out again later on in the year. And so we have we've had some very successful practicum experiences for our students. And I'm just going to name a couple of these. We have a great practicum relationship with American Airlines with our cybersecurity students. Last year, Deborah Harvey and her team over at the Buinger have started a practicum partnership with GameStop. They reached out to us, and so we'll be expanding that this year. We also Deborah visited and toured the new customized modular building solutions in Euless, and that's a prefab fabrication that builds, I guess, different types of buildings. So I know that they're going to be exploring that as well. Before I left work today, I talked to the assistant principal, Mike Drysdale, and he was working on transportation routes. We have students who come over from Bell and Trinity every day, so we have a total right now of 8 buses that will move students back and forth. We have some downtime for those bus drivers in between class periods. And so a lot of our students, especially the ones that are economically disadvantaged, and honestly, some of these teenagers, they don't want to drive. They don't want their driver's license now, totally different from when I was in high school. But, they need to be able to get to their practicum location. So we're working with our drivers and coming up with routes to get them where they need to be. So we'll be expanding that this year with culinary. Right now we have Market Street, the Gaylord, and Chick-fil-A. So we have some students that will be going out to there. And then welding, that's a new program at the Buinger this year, and so we're just getting that off the ground, but I know we'll be reaching out to you for opportunities for our students to, Mr. Farco, to have our students be able to go out on site and do some of those practicum experiences with their welding certifications. So we're always looking for ways to partner with you and your businesses, and Joe, I think that we can meet some of the needs if we venture into this daycare with our human services students, and who can also fill some of those, be able to assist with that. And so that's all I have.
Does anybody have any questions or any anything to offer when it comes to practicums for our students?
Lisa, Renee, I mean, obviously, we really haven't talked about how into the daycare and child care.
Harry.
For that special needs, are we addressing the special needs families who have special needs, even in this program? I know that we have that work program, I know that, but I think it needs to expand because I know that entire area is growing every year, and there's struggles on the district, every year with that. So I just don't want to miss that opportunity too to continue expanding that program. I'm not plugging for you, Renee, but in the daycare too, how that plugs in to special needs kids. There's a lot of those in all 3 of our cities. So I don't want to miss that opportunity.
Right.
Just want to throw that out there.
Absolutely. And really that's kind of more in Renee's wheelhouse with the transition program. So that's just thing, as we grow and opportunities grow for our students, then, we know we love having our MARC students when they do things for us over at the Buinger as well. So yes, most definitely we keep them in our radar also. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Dr. Harrington's up again on a couple of more issues.
Okay, so I've got bond here, and so, our board is considering a bond, calling for a bond election, and they will consider that at the next board meeting. If they do call the bond, what I wanted to mention with this group is Deanne's got a list. Josh, could you pull up that list? Deanne's putting together a potential list of where we need to go out and do some bond presentations. And so we've been trying to identify groups that would want to hear a presentation. And we're going to have community nights at our schools so that we can bring in, but are there targeted groups that we would also need to come and present at? There's a lot of groups here. These are a lot of meetings that we're going to schedule. But I wanted to just throw this up there in case we're missing a group that you think we really need to add to this list. And so that's why I wanted, and then Deanne, did you want to have anything? Yeah.
Go back down a couple of lines, Josh. See where it says community and then it has a school name? Right there, it's line 10 through 14 or 15. Those are going to be completely open to the community. The reason one is in red is because that date is not going to work. But those dates have already been set. We will be communicating those dates on postcards to all 3 communities. So those are open for whoever wants to come and hear the presentation. So those are the broad ones. If you take a look at the rest of these, they're pretty specific. We've reached out to retirement centers. We're hoping to, connect with homeowners associations, retired employees. We're having a realtor breakfast that I don't think the date has been set for that yet, but that realtor meeting is very important to the people who are showing homes. And of course, we hope to be on the chamber as well. So again, if y'all have any ideas, this is not a comprehensive list, but we are happy to, where 2 or more are gathered, we'll be happy to share our information.
Yeah, so you can share your ideas tonight, or you can send them to Deanne. If there's a group you're involved with, or a church that you think wants to hear us speak about the bond, then let us know so we can get there. The more people that we educate, you all have been through this before, you know how this works. Education about where that money is intended to go is the most important part of getting the bond over the finish line. Questions? Yes?
When do you expect to have the election?
The election is November 7th.
It's coming November.
If the bond is called at the next board meeting on the 21st, then it will be on the ballot for November.
Y'all could come talk to the councils.
Great idea. Come to the council meeting. Yeah, great idea.
Absolutely.
Yes. As long as we can get on your agenda. As long as we can get on your agenda. Okay. Hurst Senior, I don't know if it's on
up
the
there.
list. Yeah, okay.
It's at the very, very top.
I think we've got all the senior centers on there, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, we definitely want to get in front of more of the groups of seniors, because those are folks that maybe have not been in our schools in a very long time. And we need to make sure that they understand some of the needs that may not have been there the last time they were in a school. Okay.
Okay, and then my next item is, and this is probably going to be mostly interesting for the city of Bedford, but it's just, we wanted to let you all know, 2100 Plaza Parkway is the old 24-hour fitness that sits behind Papa Do's. The school district has bought that property and will be renovating it for some needs that we have. It'll be, we will have our testing center there, but we've got to find a place for our gymnastics program. And so they're going to be using part of that too. And it does have a pool. It's not a competition pool, but it would be a lap pool that we could use occasionally also. So it provides a lot for us. We're very pleased with that. The reason I want to let y'all know, it's a large parking lot that, you know, there are times where we ooze into your parking lots, and there may be events that you're having where you would like to use that, and if there's not an activity obviously going on, I want you to know we now have that facility also. We probably won't do a ribbon cutting for a while yet. We've got to update some things, so it's going to be a while before we really push it out there, but I did want to tell this group about that.
Yes. Before we move on, can we go back to the line?
Yes.
We can.
Can you push out to us as council members and the officials, the PSAs you're using? So, because I've had a lot of people talking, I went to Trinity High School, I went to Midway Park, I went to Hughes Junior High, so I know a lot of people who went to those schools. And they're already asking questions, period. We don't want the face of Trinity to change. We understand the issues of Trinity. But I've been trying to educate those, so I'm educating you, not without
Yeah.
How about that? So can you get that out to us?
Absolutely. The only reason you don't have it is because I'm waiting for the vote on the Monday. So I can promise you that on Tuesday morning, I will send it out as soon as I can.
And Perry, if any of you are in a situation like Perry is in, where he grew up in this area and he's getting a lot of questions, once the board makes the decision to actually call the bond, there are folks in this room today that you can call to get some of that information to answer those questions right away. We don't want folks coming to you and you not knowing how to answer them. So yes, absolutely, we'll get you what you need.
Hey Perry, I grew up playing basketball where you guys have council meetings now, so things change.
First day, when our recreation center opened, in shorts, no shirt, no shoes, my brother was so proud.
Mid-Cities News, huh?
You all read Mid-Cities News? Oh, come on. 3 of us, really?
Those are old enough.
Wow.
It's funny. Okay, anything else about that property in Bedford? Okay. Well-being, Deanne.
Yes. Okay. Our executive leadership team and the leadership of the district put well-being as a priority. Not that it shouldn't have been forever, but after COVID, we saw just some things that we needed to face and to provide resources for. So we did a book study. It happened to be a Gallup book study, and it is well-being at work. And so we took this and did several things. So what I want to share with you tonight are some of the things that we did, but there's still some things we want to keep doing. This isn't something that we decided to do. We did it in a year and it's over. We want to continue the thread. So what we have done is we set up a well-being site, and that site touched 5 different areas of life: career, social, financial, physical, and then community. And so we set up this site. Our employees were able to go to the site. We provided resources. In fact, if you do go to our well-being site, I will tell you that it links to each of your rec centers. It links to your events. We tried to do everything we could to communicate to our staff. And this is internal. I'll be honest, it's for our staff. But it was to link to them so that they know what is available for them socially and even health-wise. We also had a challenge, and we asked our employees to join, and it was a month long, or maybe it was about 7 weeks. I think it was a 7 or 8 week challenge, and they had milestones that they had to meet. We had 1,000 of our employees, and we have 2,800, and so 1,000 of them joined, and I thought that is great, because it takes a lot for someone to commit to that. And then we also want to continue that challenge. It's going to look a little different this year just to keep it interesting. But here are the things that we would like you to think about partnering with us on, and that would be possibly discounting memberships at workout locations. I know the YMCA in Bedford has opened up, and maybe there's opportunities there. I think we have talked to the hospital about, and I think it was something that Brenda and I visited about, but possibly health screenings that we could provide for our teachers. Also support from our current adopters, and that's just something that we want to handle, and that is the people who've adopted our schools. Maybe there's something that they could offer our teachers at that campus in well-being. And then we are piloting something that we ran across at a conference, and it's called Catch Life 30. And it's a way that we can connect with our employees daily for a month. But several of us did this, and when we did it, really good habits started, because it sends you a text and says, have you had enough water today? And have you connected with someone? And so those are the things we're doing. But what I want to share with you guys is, if there's anything that maybe you're doing in your cities or things that you think would benefit our teachers, just let us know.
Anybody have anything to share that you're doing in your cities for your employee well-being that you think might translate?
Yeah, can we steal any ideas?
Is there a clinic or anything for employees, families of the district?
Is there a clinic, like a health?
District clinic or anything like that? I know some school districts in North Texas have.
We don't have a clinic. I mean, we'll have the day where they can all get their flu shots and things like that, but we don't have any kind of clinic as far as just a checkup or wellness type.
When it comes to the Catch Life program that has like little reminders or questions, do you guys do anything involved with creativity? Like, have you drawn a stick person today? Just something like that. Is that a possibility?
The whole art piece of that and being creative is huge, and just kind of. Right. Definitely something we've thought about. The Catch Life 30 has a formula that they go by, and there were several things in there that allowed you to kind of pause, think, and then act on some things. But that's a great idea. That really is. Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So the next thing up is Josh Miner is going to talk about purchasing power and emergency response. Where is he?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Part of this is a follow-up from what we talked about last year, and just a continuation of that discussion. I'm going to go for that one first. And so what we did afterwards, we met about the 911 or emergency response teams within our different districts and cities. Clay and I, Loretta, and Jimmy, we all met together and said, what could we do, and would this be beneficial? And we did find that there was a benefit to that. So we just really want to bring that and say, that still is, I think we all agree that that's still something that would be beneficial. And we'd like to continue that discussion, because we said the next step would be to get our groups together. So we need to create the groups that we need to have talking. So my M&O teams and the different maybe parks and rec in some cases. We're looking at everything from the way we've dealt with ice in the past, using the warming centers, having that backup plan, contingency plan. So we already have plans in place when we know if your warming center goes down, how can we help? Because we have places that have a generator, which is what happened last time with Central Junior High. Or if we have things go down, what can we do to work with you and have that ironed out ahead of time? The next piece was purchasing power. Purchasing numbers, buying in numbers, it's always, and go in bulk, and, how many of us have Costco memberships here? So kind of thinking the same thing, communities, our school districts. I know a lot of times when we have bought fuel, we've actually went in with Euless before and had to buy fuel from you all. But also, I sit on the TASB Energy Board Committee, and we also, that board can extend that to cities as well. So buying electricity, we do our contracts, I think we're renting out to 26, 28 right now, and so you can buy that in bulk and save money there as well. So being able to tell people you bought electricity at 4 cents, a KW, that's a pretty big thing to do. So just expanding that and making that a larger group would also be something beneficial as well. So I wanted to see if you guys would be interested in doing something like that.
And as Jeff said, this was a project that began last year, and it just really couldn't get its feet going. And so really what we're asking about is, do we want to try again? Do we want Josh to call that committee together again and try again to do that? And that was, okay, and that was all 3 cities you met with? Okay.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I know that there's a lot of benefit, and we're in a lot of different purchasing cooperatives. I know with the power, there's a similar, there's a few, but one that we're in, other cities are in and stuff. And so it might be a matter of, we don't, benefit from every consortium, but I think there's enough that everyone can benefit in some capacity. I definitely, yeah. And I appreciate you hosting it last time. It was good meetings.
We need to do that because situation, not only that there will be emergency, any kind of emergency situation, we will communicate each other and help each other. That's very good.
Okay, anyone else?
So I definitely think on the emergency response that there was value to that because it's facilities that you're primarily trying to find and depending on what the situation is, depends on what facility you have available. So and then the purchasing, as Jimmy said, we have the electric consortium already, the cities are a part of it, but there are many other things
Right.
that we do use the purchasing cooperatives with. And for us, it would be just a simple interlocal agreement to allow us to piggyback off your contracts and you off of ours. So I would have interest in both of those, but during those ice storms, it got really dicey as to where you were going to put people.
So Josh, when you met with the group before, you had all 3 cities there. Who was part of that meeting?
So we had Loretta and Clay, Jimmy, then we also had TCC was with us as well.
Okay, good. Good.
I think we've all been invited recently by Encore to sit through their new app. And they have an area in a spreadsheet where you can denote which facilities are for the warming and cooling centers and stuff. So I think that will help. Just throw that out there. We're in the process of updating that information for Encore. And then we are in the process right now in moving forward with the new radio system for our public safety. It's really going to launch us into a whole new era of technology. I probably need to visit with you guys and just see if like perhaps there could be a shared radio, but it's going to help us connect with the other cities as well as other agencies within our area. So we've kind of been on our own little island, and this is going to allow us to really branch out, get off the island, and branch out, interoperability.
That'll be a conversation we bring Dan Phillips, our safety and security officer, into. And he and I did have that conversation saying that we wanted to be able to have that. Thank you. Be able to have that common language across the radios between us all.
I'm just going to walk around with this thing. Okay, so next up is, oh, that's you again.
Okay, another thing that we at that same meeting we discussed was drones. We also, so as we wanted to gather a little more information and make sure that still was something, because we all have our different drone pilots, but some of you know that the regulations are about to change here in September. We did talk to TCC, and we'd like to vet that out a little bit farther and see if that's something for our police, for emergency services, for fire, for even for our facilities departments. Would be something beneficial is that TCC has a drone class, and that we could put our employees through that. We want to see what does that look like? How do we run that out? What's the cost? Is there a cost? You know, that was something that would be very beneficial. We now have 2 drones, and we do thermal and different types of imaging. And I know the police, we've had to work with them a number of times to be able to do rundowns on buildings and things like that as well. So we think that is. We just wanted to make sure and ask you all as well.
Anybody have any thoughts about drones? You never want me to drive one, I'll tell you that.
We're all using them now, and there's times that they are invaluable, and so I would have to check with our police department to see specifically where they're getting their training and so forth, but I think any resources on that, they use them heavily now.
Yeah. Are you, in the cities, is it, did the drones live in the police department or in the fire department? Both.
And communications.
And communications. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say, because
Mr. Pena's a drone pilot there. Okay. Anybody else about drones? So Josh, I feel like the answer is yes to both of those meetings. Okay. Okay, and then the last item that we wanted to bring up.
Yeah, and I left a letter off of this. It's not ROTC, it's JROTC. So we have submitted our application with the Navy to add a junior ROTC. We're waiting to see approval. So we're up in the air right now. We anticipate that based on the feedback we've gotten, we won't get the JROTC, we'll get what is called the Navy Defense Corps. It's where they start you off, and then we will work toward a full JROTC. What we want to throw out is we think this is a program we need in this community. We always have a good group of kids that do enter the military. What we would like to see is getting some groups on board. I mentioned this to Rick. Rick's with the American Legion. I need groups like that to come and help this group come. Uniforms are going to be costly. You know, guys, we're over 62% low income now. For us to get these kids into this program and participating, we're going to need some support, but we think this is something really worthy. I was in Louisville. Back in my coaching days, we always had our OTC. Watching those kids present the colors every Friday night, that was always pretty cool.
Is there any way the veterans in each of our organizations could help? Like, if we reached out to the veterans in our city, would that be worthy? I mean, would that be worthwhile to do that?
Well, and Sonia Stanton is going to lead this for us, and Sonia said that as she's done her research, what she's found is most ROTCs have a booster club. And so could we form a booster club of our veterans to support the JROTC?
Yeah. I didn't know Joe was going to say booster club, but that's my history in HEB, is running a booster club. And I can tell you that, you know, when a bunch of like-minded people get together to support students, they can really do some amazing things. They can raise a lot of money, and they can provide a lot of things that are needed for those students. So I think that's a great way to, you know, incorporate some veterans in the area.
We've got a couple of veterans within our organization that actually, I believe, We've got a couple of veterans in our organization that I think it actually could be therapeutic.
Yeah.
To serve in that role, in that capacity.
Being around kids of any age is therapeutic. Mm-hmm. And it reminds you of why what you have done is important. I just had a bunch of kids at my house, a bunch of football players at my house, and it just reminded me of my why. And, you know, you cannot, I cannot say enough how important it is just to spend time with the students.
Hey, Joe, I know the American Legion here in Bedford will be happy to help. We recently became the largest post in the state of Texas. We beat out Houston, so we're already members, and I know that's part of our mission is to help. So we'd be glad to.
That's great. That's great.
I want to sit you down with Sonia.
Okay, so those are all the things that were on our list from HEB, but we want to hear from you. What ideas do you have of things that are happening in your cities or at the hospital, things that we as a district can support you or help you with? I know this room has been full of good ideas in the past, so I'm going to wait.
Wait time.
I'm gonna start not with an idea, but just something I want y'all to know.
Grab that mic for me.
Something that I want you guys to know. We had a couple of wonderful LD Bell students who visited our city council meeting, and they are on the Stuco at LD Bell, and we are now working with them to help them with, I think it's a regional Stuco event that's coming to the district. And so we've got our economic development director and assistant city manager. So we're trying to work with them. But I just wanted to point out how professional they are, these students. It's really been fun, awesome. They're great.
That's fantastic. And it's just from Bell?
Yes, yes. They're go-getters too. Like they came into the meeting, they stayed after the meeting, talked to us about ways that we can maybe help them, and they've been a joy to work with.
That's great. Thank you for doing that.
You know, I think we want to talk about too, with the chamber, I'm sorry, I'm loud enough.
Well, but we're all being recorded, you know.
The group that we have with the chamber every year, we do youth and government.
Yeah.
And that is becoming a more and more popular thing with more and more kids that want to take part. Initially, it struggled for a little bit, but now we're getting more applications than we can accommodate. So the more that we could push out that kind of a program, the more beneficial it would be for all of us.
Mary, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, last year we had more applicants than we could handle, so what we did was we took all the seniors and told the juniors they had an automatic spot this year if they wanted it. So it's very good, and all three cities work very well, being the speakers and the presenters and interacting with the students. So it's been real beneficial.
Very good. Yes. Josh, can you go over there?
We had a great meeting, a collaboration meeting with the chamber, all three cities' economic development directors, or the city managers, HEB Hospital, and the school, and Tarrant County College with Lisa and her teachers to talk about economic development in the area, opportunities for the students to come through. And it's been, I think it's the second year we've really done it this way. And it's been a great opportunity to talk about what's available for students coming into the area, opportunities we have in our cities and what we're looking for. I know that through that we've collaborated with the cadet program and I guess the fire school now that's going on. But it's opportunities like that. Please let us know as elected officials or chamber members, if you want us to speak at your school or speak to your teachers, we would love to do that, because these are our future economic drivers in this area. And it was very great to talk to teachers to say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we'd like to see happen with students, and see where we can go from there.
Coach Sanchez from Trinity, I believe, softball, after that meeting, asked me to come speak, and I'm absolutely thrilled to do so. So whomever, let her know that I'm ready. Okay. So just, yeah, let her know.
That's great. Anybody else got anything they'd like to share? Any ideas? Hold on. Hold on.
From a trades perspective, Steve, we already heard that welders is going to be a new class. Welders were here when, it's an ongoing process. So in the trades world, your business is booming. I mean, you've got to have just a finger on the heartbeat of the needs and trades. I mean, we all need.
Joel, a little bit about this. I sat on a committee for, I got asked for the chamber and as an elected official to meet with the Fort Worth ISD. They have electrician programs, carpentry programs, all these programs that are giving these kids certifications when they're graduating, which is great. And we met with a bunch of manufacturers, people in the trades, because we're not getting them. We're not getting skilled labor. So those opportunities are great. I was talking to Josh just the other day a little bit about, there used to be a program where we built houses in HEB from the carpentry programs here in HEB, and you can't send those jobs overseas. We need that skilled labor, and we've lost, since COVID, we've lost a lot of the skilled labor that we've had because they finally realized, you know what, life's too short, I want to retire. So those opportunities are there. And we had a meeting with Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne about what people are being paid for. I mean, even just picking up scraps on a job site, $25 an hour. There's opportunity for your students out there to do this. And if we can get programs, we can get them certified, that's great. But all the manufacturers and all the business owners in that meeting with Fort Worth ISD said, send them now. We can continue to train them until they get their certifications. So those opportunities are out there for skilled labor. And it's an honorable profession, and you could make $60,000 to $80,000 pretty dang quick in those trades.
Thank you, Steve.
And that's why we're so excited about adding that welding program.
That welding program, somebody said to me, what are we going to do if it's not full? I go, you go find a kid and put him in the program and change his life or her life. That's what those programs are. And so we're going to get this one going, and we're going to continue to evaluate, and I promise you Lisa's going to be advocating what else can we do. You know, we need to make sure that we're producing kids that have the skills to make a great living and be what we want to be in HEB.
But it is not something that can happen overnight. We worked on welding for a while. I mean, it takes a lot of investigating. How do we get the program running? Where do the funds come from? All of those things. So any help you can provide to us to make that runway time for these programs shorter would be super, super helpful to us.
And by the way, it was full.
It's full.
There's an organization called the American Subcontractors Association that works with the CEF, which is the Construction Education Foundation. And companies like mine pay for education for employees to do this at all ages. So there's an opportunity there. I'm fixing to give you a lady's name by Beverly Raynal that can help you get connected to that. It'd probably be a transportation issue on your part, but these programs are already out there that you could collaborate with them, not spend the money for facilities because they're already done. They're needing students.
Where there's a will, there's a way. We've got a bus, we can figure out a way to get them there.
This is really for Lisa. In that same context, it's not as sexy as Steve's world, but someone has to keep the water flowing. Someone has to keep the streets maintained. If I would encourage you to reach out to the North Central Texas Council of Governments. They have some certification programs for water and sanitary sewer type workers, and I understand it can't happen overnight, but most of our long-term maintenance type workers that work on infrastructure within the cities, our history at Hurst has been they went to LD Bell, they grew up here, they graduated, they come across the street to work for the city of Hurst, and next thing you know, they've got a 30-year career in infrastructure maintenance. And back in those days, the 60s, 70s, 80s, the certifications and the requirements and the technology, it wasn't what it is today. So we will accept anyone, certainly, that wants to do that type of work, but it would be helpful if they came in with those certifications. And those programs are established, And maybe in that regard, it's just more getting those kids aware of those programs. And then I think, Loretta, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, but unfortunately, I do think there does have to be some in the field to complete those certifications, but we could certainly work with you guys in that regard. But in this fast-paced world, we're kind of all seeming to forget the importance of having water in streets. And like I said, it's not sexy, but without it, none of the sexy stuff happens. So just if we can get the kids to remember that.
But a lot of it is about awareness, right? If our kids don't know that those jobs are available and their parents don't know that those jobs are available, because not everybody wants to go to college, not everybody is headed that direction, we want to give them more and more opportunities. And part of that is just making them aware.
Hey, Julie, just a second. Good evening, everybody. We really talk about the good opportunities. These are the things, either the daycare or after school. We are listening a lot of things, this issue for our parents in our community. Second thing is for the well-beings also, these are the very important topic, and then the emergency response team. I like really these topics, and then how we gonna work on that. This is teamwork. Only one city cannot do that one. And the bottom line is the quality education. Please, what you guys need from me or from us, from Hurst-Euless, please let us know, so that we can work together. Finally, I would like to say thank you for Joe and your team, because there is some hidden things here. It's the religious holidays, 2 days, Diwali and Dasara. What we have to do, this community meets the citizen, they have to drop their kids to the school and then pick up after a couple hours to get the excuse for the absent. But I talked to Joe, and then Joe told all your team and schools they don't have to drop their kids on that 2 days. I really appreciate it. And let's work together. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I want to just say that I think that we're very fortunate in HEB to have these separate cities and school district and entities that are willing to come together and have these kind of conversations. And I don't know about those of you that are in the business of cities, if you talk to folks from other cities, but when we talk to folks from other school boards and we talk about this unique kind of relationship that we have here with all of our cities, coming together to help us and for us to help them, people on other school boards look at us like they can't believe it's possible. And here we are making all of these things actual reality or a potential future reality, and we do that together. And it's really inspiring. So thank you all for your time to be here. Please don't let the thinking and the ideas stop here. Share with us anytime you come up with something. We would love to continue this conversation throughout the year.
Can I add one thing, Julie?
Yes, please do.
I said it at Rotary, I have to say it again. That convocation was phenomenal.
Hang on. Wait. Deanne wants you on the mic.
The convocation was phenomenal. I mean, like, seriously, I walked out of that day, like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go do some work.
Yeah.
So
So if you have never been to a convocation, you do not know what you're missing. You need to get to the next convocation, because every year, I don't know how Deanna and team do it, but they raise the bar every year, and it is the absolute best way to kick off the school year, and it really does. It gets you moving, gets you ready to go. Was there anything else I was supposed to cover at the end?
The only other next steps, but we're going to
Next steps, I think we established what meetings are going to take place and who's going to do what. Don't forget to give us names of groups that need to hear about a potential bond. And
And we'll get that information out to you once it is, if the bond is called on Monday.
all right. Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate you. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.